Hey everyone, we're so glad you're here with us today. If you enjoy our content, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. Now, let's dive into our main story. In the dim light of a flickering candle, the ancient stone walls of the chamber seemed to breathe with the weight of history, whispers of bygone eras echoing softly through the arched corridors. Outside, the wind howled with a mournful lament, carrying with it the scent of decaying leaves and the distant toll of a church bell, a reminder of the world beyond these cloistered walls that had been gripped by an unseen terror. It was the year 1348, and the Black Death had made its ravenous descent upon Europe, leaving towns and villages desolate in its wake. Within these walls, however, nestled a sanctuary of sorts, a small abbey on the outskirts of Florence where a young woman named Isabella found both refuge and confinement. Her heart, a fragile bird caught between the bars of destiny and desire, fluttered with a restlessness that knew no bounds. Isabella was not alone in this sanctuary. There were others, souls seeking solace from the plague that ravaged the land. Among them was a young monk named Pietro, whose eyes held the quiet wisdom of a soul acquainted with both suffering and joy. The days were long, marked by the rhythmic chants of prayer and the ceaseless task of tending to the sick, their bodies ravaged by the unseen specter that haunted their dreams. Yet, amid this relentless tide of despair, Isabella found herself drawn to Pietro, whose presence was a light in the surrounding darkness. They spoke often, their conversations a tapestry woven with threads of philosophy, theology, and the simple truths of the human heart. In the stillness of the abbey, amidst the echoes of mortality, an unspoken bond began to form between them, a delicate dance of souls that neither dared to name. The abbey's gardens, though modest, were a sanctuary within a sanctuary, a place where nature's resilience offered a balm to weary spirits. Here, Isabella and Pietro often walked, their footsteps silent upon the cobblestone paths. As autumn deepened, the trees shed their leaves in a cascade of gold and crimson, a vibrant reminder of the cycle of life and death. One such afternoon, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow upon the earth, Isabella turned to Pietro, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you ever wonder," she asked, "if love can truly endure in times such as these?" Pietro paused, his gaze fixed upon the horizon where the sky met the earth in a seamless embrace. "Love," he replied softly, "is like the stars that shine even when the night is at its darkest. It endures not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. In love, we find the strength to face the impossible." His words hung in the air, a promise and a prayer, as Isabella felt the warmth of his hand brush against hers, a fleeting touch that sent a shiver through her soul. In that moment, she realized that love, like life, was a risk, a leap of faith into the unknown. But even as hope flickered within the walls of the abbey, the world outside grew more perilous. Rumors of the plague's advance reached their ears, tales of entire villages succumbing to its relentless grasp. The abbey became a haven for those fleeing the disease, its halls echoing with the cries of the afflicted and the prayers of the faithful. The monks and nuns worked tirelessly, their compassion a beacon in the shadow of despair. One evening, as Isabella prepared herbs in the infirmary, Pietro entered, his expression grave. "Isabella," he said, "there is something you must know. The plague has reached Florence." Her heart clenched at the news, the fragile peace she had found within these walls threatened by the specter of the outside world. "And our families?" she asked, her voice trembling. He shook his head. "There has been no word. We can only pray for their safety." The weight of uncertainty pressed heavily upon Isabella, yet she found solace in Pietro's presence, his unwavering strength a pillar upon which she could lean. Together, they continued their work, tending to the sick with a compassion that transcended fear. As the days turned to weeks, the plague's grip tightened, its presence a constant shadow upon their lives. Yet, amid the suffering, moments of beauty and grace emerged, like wildflowers blooming in the cracks of a forgotten ruin. One such moment came on a cold winter's night, as snow fell softly upon the earth, blanketing the world in a shroud of purity. In the abbey's chapel, a candlelit vigil was held, the air thick with incense and the soft murmur of prayer. Isabella and Pietro stood side by side, their hearts united in a silent communion. As the choir sang, their voices rising in a hymn of hope, Isabella felt Pietro's hand slip into hers, a gesture of comfort and connection. In that sacred space, surrounded by the echoes of eternity, Isabella knew that love, fragile and fierce, was a force that could withstand even the darkest of times. But the plague was relentless, its presence a constant reminder of life's fragility. One morning, as the first light of dawn crept through the stained glass windows, Pietro was called away to tend to a new arrival, a traveler who had fallen ill upon reaching the abbey's gates. Hours passed, the sun climbing higher in the sky, before Isabella saw Pietro again. His face was drawn, exhaustion etched into every line. "Isabella," he began, his voice weary yet unwavering, "the traveler, he did not survive. The plague has reached us." Her heart faltered, the words a knell that resonated through her very being. "And you?" she asked, fear threading through her voice. "Have you been exposed?" He nodded, his expression calm yet resolute. "I will be isolated, as a precaution. But know this, Isabella. Whatever happens, my love for you is eternal." Tears welled in her eyes, yet she refused to let them fall. Instead, she reached out, her fingers brushing against his cheek in a tender caress. "And mine for you, Pietro," she whispered, her voice a vow. "Always." With a final lingering glance, he turned and walked away, his figure soon swallowed by the shadows of the corridor. Isabella watched him go, her heart a tumult of emotions, fear, hope, love, all entwined in a dance as old as time itself. As the days passed, the abbey became a place of both healing and mourning, a microcosm of the world beyond its walls. Yet, amid the loss and longing, Isabella held fast to the belief that love, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, could endure even the ravages of the plague. In the quiet moments, when the world seemed still and time stretched infinitely, she would close her eyes and imagine a future where she and Pietro could walk hand in hand beneath a sky unclouded by fear. It was a dream, fragile and fleeting, yet it sustained her, a beacon of light in the darkness. And so, in a time when the very fabric of existence seemed to unravel, Isabella discovered a truth as old as the stars. Love, in its myriad forms, was the thread that bound humanity together, a force that transcended death and despair, a promise that, even in the face of the impossible, hope could prevail. The abbey's stone walls, venerable and silent, offered solace to those seeking refuge from the chaos outside. The air inside held a quiet reverence, a tapestry of whispered prayers and soft footfalls echoing through its hallowed halls. Isabella found herself drawn to the cloisters, where the gentle rustle of leaves in the courtyard garden spoke of life continuing, stubborn and beautiful, amid the scourge. As she moved through the abbey, Isabella often encountered others who had sought sanctuary within its protective embrace. Each face bore the weight of loss, yet within their eyes glimmered a shared resilience, a determination to cling to life and love despite the shadows that loomed. These fleeting encounters, marked by nods of understanding and murmurs of shared grief, became touchstones in her daily routine, grounding her in a community bound by shared suffering and hope. One morning, as the sun spilled golden light across the abbey's worn flagstones, Isabella crossed paths with Sister Agnes, a woman whose gentle smile belied the steel within her spirit. Agnes moved with a quiet grace, tending to the sick with a tenderness that was both balm and blessing. They exchanged few words, yet a silent camaraderie grew between them, a kinship forged in the crucible of shared purpose. "Isabella," Agnes said softly one day, her voice a soothing murmur against the backdrop of distant bells, "hope is not the absence of fear, but the courage to face it. Hold tight to your dreams, for they are the seeds of tomorrow." Isabella nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude for the sister's wisdom. She carried those words with her, a talisman against the uncertainty that clawed at her resolve. Days turned to weeks, and the rhythm of life within the abbey became a tapestry of small triumphs and profound losses. Each morning, Isabella would rise before dawn, her breath visible in the cool air, and offer her prayers to a sky tinged with the promise of a new day. It was during these quiet moments that she felt Pietro's presence most keenly, as though he stood beside her, his hand warm in hers, whispering of a future free from the plague's cruel grip. The villagers, she knew, spoke of Pietro's bravery, of how he had ventured into the heart of the afflicted town to bring aid and solace to those who had been shunned and forgotten. Tales of his deeds reached her in fragments, carried on the lips of those who passed through the abbey's gates. They spoke of a man unwavering in his commitment to others, a beacon of hope in a world darkened by despair. Isabella clung to these stories, weaving them into the fabric of her dreams, adding color and texture to the tapestry of her hope. Yet, amid the flickers of hope, shadows lingered, casting long silhouettes across the landscape of her heart. The plague, relentless and unforgiving, continued its march, claiming lives with a brutality that defied comprehension. Each toll of the abbey's bell marked another soul lost, a reminder of the fragile thread upon which all life hung. One evening, as twilight wrapped its indigo shawl over the world, Isabella found herself in the chapel, the flickering candlelight casting dancing shadows on the ancient stone walls. She knelt before the altar, her heart a silent supplication, her tears an offering to the unseen. The weight of uncertainty pressed upon her, a relentless tide threatening to pull her under. In that sacred space, she felt a presence, a warmth that enveloped her, a whisper that stirred the air like the softest of breezes. It was as if Pietro himself was there, his spirit reaching across the distance to offer her comfort. Isabella closed her eyes, imagining his arms around her, his voice a balm against the storm raging in her soul. "Fear not," the whisper seemed to say, "for love is the light that guides us through the darkest of nights. Trust in its power to heal, to bind, to endure." Buoyed by this sense of communion, Isabella rose, her heart lighter, her resolve fortified. She understood now that love was not a passive force, but an active choice, a daily affirmation of life in the face of death. It was a promise made in the quiet moments, a gift shared in the simplest of gestures. As the days unfolded, small miracles began to emerge from the tapestry of despair. The abbey's infirmary, once a place of sorrow, became a sanctuary of healing. Under Sister Agnes's guidance, Isabella joined the efforts to care for the sick, her hands learning the language of compassion through touch and tenderness. She discovered within herself a wellspring of strength, an unyielding determination to fight for life and love in whatever form they took. Gradually, whispers of recovery spread through the abbey, stories of those who had faced the brink and returned, bearing scars but also newfound gratitude for the gift of breath and the promise of tomorrow. Isabella witnessed joy reborn in the eyes of those who had despaired, and with each story of survival, Her own hope became a flame, steadfast and enduring. And then, one fateful morning, as the first light of dawn kissed the earth, the abbey's gates swung open to reveal a figure familiar yet changed. Pietro stood there, his silhouette framed by the rising sun, a testament to resilience, to the triumph of love over death. His eyes met Isabella's, 1,000 unspoken words passing between them, a symphony of emotions that needed no voice. They moved towards each other, hearts pounding in unison, until distance dissolved, and they stood together, their hands entwined, a living testament to the power of love in the time of plague. In that moment, the world faded away, leaving only the two of them, bound by a promise as old as the stars. Isabella gazed into Pietro's eyes, seeing reflected there the journey they had endured, the trials overcome, and the future that lay before them. Her heart swelled with a love that transcended time, a love that had weathered the storm and emerged stronger, a beacon of hope in a world reborn. Together, they walked hand in hand beneath a sky unclouded by fear, their steps guided by the rhythm of a world renewed. In the dance of shadows and light, they found their place, a testament to the enduring power of love, a force that, even in the face of the impossible, had proven that hope could, indeed, prevail. The sun crept gently over the horizon, its rays painting the landscape with hues of gold and amber, a silent witness to the resilience of life. Isabella and Pietro wandered through the fields, the air tinged with the sweet scent of wildflowers and the distant murmur of a world awakening from its long, dark slumber. The earth, once so silent and still, now pulsed with the promise of renewal. Their village, nestled amidst rolling hills and ancient trees, had begun to stir with cautious optimism. The plague that had once cast its shadow over every street and home had finally loosened its grip, leaving behind a tapestry of stories woven from grief and courage. Survivors emerged, blinking in the light, to reclaim the spaces where laughter and love had once thrived. Isabella and Pietro found solace in the woods, where the whisper of leaves and the song of the river provided a sanctuary from the tumult of recent memories. They had carved out a small haven by the water's edge, a place where dreams were spun from the threads of yesterday and tomorrow. Here, time seemed to stretch and contract, a gentle reminder that moments of peace could be found even amid chaos. As they settled by the river, the gentle lapping of water against the stones played a soothing melody. Pietro leaned back against a weathered oak, its branches reaching skyward like arms in silent praise. Isabella nestled beside him, her head resting on his shoulder, her fingers tracing the lines of his palm, each crease a testament to the life they had lived and the love they had shared. "Do you remember," Pietro began, his voice a soft murmur, "the first time we met by this river? How the world seemed so vast and full of promise." Isabella smiled, the memory as vivid as the first blush of dawn. "I remember the way the sunlight danced on the water and how you spoke of dreams yet to be dreamed. In that moment, I knew my heart had found its home." Their laughter mingled with the wind, a gentle ripple across the water's surface. Yet, beneath the tranquility, there lingered a shadow of uncertainty, the question unspoken yet ever present: what would the future hold in a world so changed? Pietro sighed, his gaze drifting to the horizon where the sky kissed the earth. "We have survived much, Isabella. But I wonder, what will become of us now? Can we truly rebuild, not just our village, but our lives?" Isabella turned to him, her eyes shimmering with the light of 1,000 stars. "We have already begun, Pietro. Every step we take, every breath we draw, is a testament to our resilience. The future is unwritten, but it is ours to shape." Their words wove a tapestry of hope, each thread a promise of what could be. Yet, as the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the land. They knew the path ahead would not be without its challenges. In the days that followed, the village buzzed with the energy of rebirth. Walls were rebuilt, fields replanted, and life slowly crept back into the spaces left hollow by loss. Isabella and Pietro found themselves at the heart of this renewal, their love a beacon guiding others through the lingering fog of despair. They worked side by side, hands calloused by toil, hearts buoyed by the shared burden. Yet, amid the bustle of life returning, there were moments that tested their resolve, shadows of the past that clung like a chill in the air. One afternoon, as they were gathering herbs in the meadow, Isabella paused, her gaze drifting to the distant silhouette of the old church. Its bell tower, once a symbol of community and faith, now stood silent, a reminder of the souls lost to the plague. "Do you think we will ever hear the bell ring again?" she asked, her voice tinged with both hope and sorrow. Pietro followed her gaze, his expression thoughtful. "Perhaps not as it once did, but maybe, in time, it will find a new purpose, a new song to sing." His words echoed in the quiet, a promise that life, though altered, would find its rhythm once more. It was in these small affirmations that they found strength, a reminder that even in the darkest times, love could illuminate the path forward. As the seasons shifted, so too did the world around them. The village, once cloaked in mourning, began to breathe with new life. Children played in the streets, their laughter a balm for weary souls. Gardens bloomed, painting the landscape with vibrant colors, a testament to the enduring spirit of the land and its people. Yet, as spring gave way to summer, a new challenge emerged, one that tested the very fabric of their community. Rumors of another illness began to circulate, whispers carried on the wind, sowing seeds of fear and uncertainty. Isabella and Pietro stood at the heart of this storm, their love a steadfast anchor. They gathered with others in the village square, seeking solace and guidance, their resolve unwavering even as the future loomed uncertain. "We have faced the darkness before," Isabella spoke, her voice strong and sure. "And we have emerged into the light. Together, we will meet whatever comes, with courage and with love." Her words kindled a spark of hope, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggle. Together, they could weather any storm, their bonds forged in the crucible of adversity. As the days lengthened and the sun cast its warm embrace over the land, Isabella and Pietro continued their journey, their love a guiding star in a night sky filled with possibility. They walked hand in hand, heart in heart, their steps echoing with the promise of a future built on love's enduring strength. In the quiet moments, beneath the whispering trees and the watchful gaze of the stars, they found solace in each other, their dreams woven together like threads in a tapestry that told the story of a love that had survived the ages. And as the world around them continued to change, they knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, bound by a promise as old as the stars, a promise that, even in the face of the impossible, love could and would prevail. In the dim light of twilight, the world seemed to hold its breath, suspended between the fading glow of the day and the deepening embrace of night. Isabella and Pietro, weary from their travels, sought refuge in a small, secluded grove. The leaves whispered secrets to the wind, their rustling a gentle lullaby that spoke of ancient forests and the timeless dance of nature. The air was fragrant with the scent of wildflowers, their delicate petals a symphony of colors that painted the meadow in hues of hope and renewal. Isabella reclined against the sturdy trunk of an ancient oak, its presence a comforting reminder of resilience and strength. Pietro crouched beside her, his fingers tracing idle patterns in the earth, a silent conversation with the land that had borne witness to their journey. In the stillness, the world seemed to shrink, folding around them like a cocoon that sheltered them from the chaos that lay beyond. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices carrying the weight of dreams and fears shared and unspoken. "Do you think," Isabella mused, her gaze fixed on a distant star that flickered in the gathering darkness, "that the world will ever be the same again?" Pietro paused, considering her question. "Perhaps not the same," he replied, his voice a gentle rumble that resonated in the quiet. "But it will be a world remade, reshaped by what we've endured. And in that new world, we will find our place, just as countless others have done before us." His words were a balm, soothing the edges of her anxiety. Together, they had faced the specter of the plague, a relentless shadow that sought to extinguish the light of life and love. Yet, here they stood, defiant and unyielding, their hearts beating in unison with the rhythm of the earth. As they sat in companionable silence, the distant cry of a nightingale pierced the air, its song a haunting melody that spoke of longing and hope. It was a song that transcended time, its notes weaving a tapestry of emotions that resonated deep within their souls. Isabella closed her eyes, allowing the music to wash over her, carrying her away on a tide of memories. She recalled the early days of their love, when the world had been a place of promise and endless possibility. They had danced beneath the stars, their laughter mingling with the night air as they dreamed of a future unburdened by fear. But then the plague had descended, a dark tide that swept away all certainty, leaving only questions in its wake. It had tested the very foundation of their bond, forcing them to confront their deepest fears and insecurities. Yet, through it all, their love had been a beacon, guiding them through the storm. "Do you remember," Pietro said softly, breaking the spell of her reverie, "the night we first met? The way the moonlight danced in your eyes?" Isabella smiled, the memory as vivid as if it had happened only yesterday. "I do," she replied, reaching for his hand. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring us together, two souls destined to find each other amidst the chaos. They lingered in that moment, each breath a promise, each heartbeat a testament to the enduring power of love. And as the night deepened, the stars bore witness to their vow, a silent chorus that sang of hope and renewal. As dawn broke, the world emerged from its slumber, the first rays of light casting a golden hue over the landscape. Isabella and Pietro rose, their hearts buoyed by the promise of a new day. They continued their journey, their steps sure and steady, their path illuminated by the light of their love. In the days that followed, they encountered many others, souls who, like them, had weathered the storm and emerged stronger for it. There was an unspoken kinship among them, a shared understanding that transcended words. Together, they forged a community bound by the shared experience of survival and the hope of a brighter tomorrow. Yet, as they moved through this new world, they remained vigilant, acutely aware of the fragile nature of the peace they had found. The specter of the plague still lingered, a reminder that the battle was not yet over. But with each new dawn, they found strength in their love and in the bonds they had formed with others along the way. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold, they arrived at a small village nestled in the shadow of a towering mountain. The air was crisp and clean, the scent of pine and earth a welcome change from the oppressive heat of the lowlands. The villagers greeted them with open arms, their warmth and generosity a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Here, in this remote corner of the world, they found a sanctuary, a place where they could pause and catch their breath before continuing their journey. As the days passed, Isabella and Pietro became part of the fabric of the village, their presence a source of hope and inspiration for those around them. They worked alongside the villagers, tending to the fields and sharing stories of their travels by the glow of the firelight. In the quiet moments, they found solace in the simple joys of life. The laughter of children playing in the meadow, the warmth of the sun on their skin, the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, beauty could be found in the most unexpected places. Yet, even here, they could not escape the echoes of the past. One evening, as they sat by the fire, an old woman approached them, her eyes filled with a wisdom that spoke of a lifetime of experience. "Young ones," she said, her voice a soft rasp, "do not forget the lessons of the past. The world is ever changing, and we must change with it. But never lose sight of what truly matters, the love that binds us, the hope that sustains us." Her words resonated deep within their hearts, a reminder that their journey was far from over. They had come so far, yet there was still much to do, many more lives to touch, and countless stories to weave into the tapestry of their own. As the seasons turned and the world continued its relentless march forward, Isabella and Pietro remained steadfast in their commitment to each other and to the world around them. Together, they faced each new challenge, their hearts as one, their love a beacon of hope in a world still healing from the scars of the past. And in the end, it was love that prevailed, a force more powerful than any plague, more enduring than the passage of time. In a world forever changed, Isabella and Pietro found solace in the knowledge that their love had not only survived but thrived, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of the heart. Isabella and Pietro stood at the edge of a world where shadows of past pandemics lingered like ghosts in the mist, their whispers echoing through the corridors of time. The Black Death had long since passed into history, leaving behind echoes of sorrow and stories of survival. Yet, even in this new era, the lessons of those who came before them remained etched in the fabric of their lives, a constant reminder that love was the thread that held the tapestry of humanity together. As they walked hand in hand through the cobbled streets of their village, the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the world. The air was filled with the scent of blooming jasmine, a fragrant testament to the resilience of nature. The village, once a place of despair and mourning, had begun to heal. Children played in the streets, their laughter ringing out like a symphony of hope, and the market buzzed with the vibrant energy of life renewed. Still, Isabella and Pietro knew that the world remained fragile. The specter of disease had not vanished, it had simply taken on a new form. COVID-19 had swept across the globe, its reach as insidious as the plagues of old. Yet, unlike those who had faced the Black Death centuries before, they were armed with knowledge and technology, tools that offered a glimmer of hope in the fight against the invisible foe. Their days were filled with the rhythms of life, each moment a delicate dance between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Pietro, with his gentle hands and steady heart, had taken to the fields, tending to the land that had sustained them through generations. The earth, rich and fertile, responded to his touch, yielding its bounty as if in gratitude for his care. Isabella, ever the healer, had dedicated herself to the service of others. Her days were spent tending to the sick, offering comfort to those in need, and spreading the seeds of hope wherever she went. Her gentle presence was a balm to the weary souls who sought refuge in her care, and her unwavering spirit a beacon of light in the darkest of times. Yet, even as they stood firm in their resolve, there were moments when the weight of the world threatened to overwhelm them. The relentless march of the virus, the fear that lurked in the eyes of those they met, and the uncertainty that shrouded the future all conspired to test their faith. It was in these moments of doubt that they turned to each other, their love a sanctuary, a fortress against the storm. One evening, as the stars began to pierce the velvet sky, Isabella and Pietro found themselves walking along the banks of a gentle river that wound its way through the countryside. The water, a silken ribbon of silver under the moonlight, whispered secrets as it flowed, its song a soothing lullaby that spoke to their souls. They stopped beneath the ancient willow tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze, a living testament to the passage of time. Here, in this sacred space, they found solace, a moment of peace amidst the chaos of the world. Pietro took Isabella's hands in his gaze steady and filled with a love that transcended the trials they faced. "Isabella," he murmured, his voice a soft caress, "do you remember the stories your grandmother used to tell us, of how love could conquer even the darkest of times?" She nodded, the memory of her grandmother's voice a warm echo in her heart. "Yes, I remember. She spoke of love as the light that guides us through the night, the force that binds us together when all else falls away." "Exactly," Pietro continued, his eyes locked onto hers, "and I believe that with all my heart. No matter what happens, as long as we hold onto that love, we can face anything." Isabella smiled, the warmth of his words a balm to her soul. "And we will face it together, Pietro. Whatever comes, we will stand side by side, our love a shield against the darkness." As the night deepened and the world around them fell into a hushed slumber, they remained beneath the willow, wrapped in the embrace of the universe. The stars above, ancient witnesses to the stories of countless lovers, shimmered in silent accord, their light a testament to the enduring power of love. In the days that followed, news of a vaccine began to spread, a flicker of hope that ignited a fire in the hearts of many. The village buzzed with anticipation, a collective breath held in the promise of relief from the relentless grip of the virus. Isabella and Pietro, ever the pillars of their community, threw themselves into the effort to bring the light of this new dawn to their people. Their home became a hub of activity, a place where plans were laid and dreams were nurtured. They organized efforts to distribute the vaccine, ensuring that even the most vulnerable among them would receive its protection. The village, once a place of fear and isolation, became a tapestry of unity, each thread a life intertwined with the next. As the first rays of hope broke over the horizon, Isabella and Pietro found themselves at the forefront of change. The village square, once a place of quiet reflection, became a gathering ground for celebration. Laughter mingled with tears of joy as the community came together, their spirits buoyed by the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And through it all, Isabella and Pietro remained steadfast, their love a constant in a world of shifting sands. Together, they had faced the darkness, and together, they had emerged into the light, their bond stronger than ever before. In the quiet moments, when the world slowed to a gentle hum, they would retreat to their sanctuary beneath the willow tree, the river their companion in those stolen moments of peace. Here, they would sit in silent communion, their hearts beating in perfect harmony, a symphony of love that resonated through the ages. As the world continued to heal and life slowly returned to its familiar rhythms, Isabella and Pietro knew that their journey was far from over. There would be new challenges to face, new stories to weave, and new lives to touch. But they also knew that no matter what the future held, their love would remain a constant, a beacon of hope and resilience in a world forever changed. And so, in the end, it was love that prevailed, a force more powerful than any plague, more enduring than the passage of time. In a world reborn, Isabella and Pietro found solace in the knowledge that their love had not only survived but thrived, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of the heart. As the river's gentle murmur serenaded the quiet of the evening, Isabella and Pietro found themselves enveloped in a cocoon of tranquility, a brief respite from the turmoil that had once engulfed their world. The willow tree, ancient and wise, stood sentinel over their whispered conversations, its branches swaying softly in the breeze as if nodding in agreement with their shared dreams and secret hopes. The leaves danced with a rustle, a gentle applause for the love that had blossomed beneath its boughs. Yet, even in this sanctuary of peace, the world beyond whispered of uncertainties and shadows of trials yet to come. The scars of the plague, though healing, were etched deep into the fabric of their lives and those of their community. It was a reminder that while love could flourish in the darkest times, it could not erase the echoes of loss and the specter of what might yet be. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, Pietro turned to Isabella, his eyes reflecting the fading light. "The world is healing, my love, but I fear there are still shadows that linger," he confided, his voice a tender caress against the backdrop of the river's song. Isabella, her hand gently intertwined with his, nodded. "Life is a tapestry, woven with light and shadow," she replied, her voice steady with conviction. "But we have proven that even in darkness, love can weave the brightest threads." Their conversations often drifted to the future, a canvas yet to be painted with the colors of their choices and the paths they would tread together. The village, like many others, was slowly shedding its shroud of fear, but the road to recovery was long and fraught with challenges. The return of merchants to the marketplace, the ringing laughter of children in the fields, and the hopeful planting of seeds for the next harvest spoke of life's resilience. Yet the memories of loss were fresh, and the lessons learned were not easily forgotten. One particular morning, as the first light of dawn kissed the earth, a messenger arrived at their doorstep, dust and urgency clinging to his clothes. He bore news of a distant land, tales of another sickness that had begun to stir far across the seas. Though not yet a threat to their village, the possibility of a new plague loomed like a storm cloud on the horizon. Pietro and Isabella listened intently, their hearts heavy with the weight of this new uncertainty. "We have faced this before," Isabella whispered, her gaze meeting Pietro's with unwavering resolve. "And we shall face it again, together." Their resolve was tested sooner than anticipated. Reports of the new illness began to trickle in like the first drops of rain before a storm. Neighbors and friends, once thought safe, began to speak in hushed tones of symptoms that mirrored those of the past horror. The village gatherings became fraught with an undercurrent of fear, a tension that even the brightest day could not fully dispel. Determined not to let fear dictate their lives, Isabella and Pietro took it upon themselves to organize a gathering beneath the willow tree, inviting friends and neighbors to join in a communal sharing of knowledge and resources. Under the dappled light filtering through the leaves, they spoke of resilience, of past triumphs, and of the strength found in unity. "It is in times like these," Pietro addressed the gathered crowd, "that we must remember our shared humanity. Let us not allow fear to divide us, but instead, let us build bridges with compassion and understanding." The gathering served as a balm, a reminder of the power found in community and collective action. As the evening wore on, stories were shared, tears were shed, and laughter, so precious and rare, bubbled up like a spring, refreshing parched spirits. There was a palpable sense of hope, a fragile yet tenacious thread that wove through their hearts, binding them together in a promise of solidarity. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the threat of the new plague grew. It reached their village like a thief in the night, stealthy and relentless. The air, once filled with the songs of birds and the chatter of everyday life, became thick with the oppressive silence of worry. Masks became a common sight, a stark reminder of the invisible enemy they faced. Despite the pervasive sense of unease, Isabella and Pietro never wavered in their commitment to each other and their community. They transformed their home into a haven for those in need, offering shelter to the weary and support to the fearful. Isabella's knowledge of herbs and healing, passed down through generations, became invaluable, her hands a source of comfort and care. Pietro, with his strong hands and gentle heart, worked tirelessly to ensure that food and supplies were distributed to those who needed them most. He became a pillar of strength, his presence a calming force in the eye of the storm. As the seasons changed, so too did the village. The initial wave of fear began to ebb, replaced by a cautious optimism. The efforts of Isabella, Pietro, and their community paid off. The spread of the illness was slowed, its impact lessened by their vigilance and compassion. The village, scarred but not broken, began to breathe again. Then, one crisp autumn morning, a letter arrived. It was from a distant cousin of Pietro's, a doctor who had been at the forefront of battling the sickness in a faraway city. The letter spoke of a potential cure, a glimmer of hope that had emerged from the tireless work of healers and scholars. It was a message of hope, a beacon of light piercing through the darkness that had settled over the world. Isabella and Pietro read the letter together, their hearts swelling with a mix of relief and gratitude. It was a testament to the power of perseverance, a reminder that even in the darkest times, the human spirit could rise above and find a way forward. In the days that followed, the village became a hub of activity. Plans were made to share the news and coordinate efforts with other communities. The once silent streets were filled with the sounds of life and laughter, a symphony of renewal and rebirth. Isabella and Pietro, standing beneath their beloved willow tree, watched as their village, their home, began to heal. It was a moment of profound peace, a confirmation of the power of love and resilience. As the river continued its eternal journey, they knew that their own journey was far from over, but they also knew that together, there was nothing they could not face. And so, in the gentle embrace of the willow's shade, with the river singing its timeless song, Isabella and Pietro reaffirmed their vow to each other and to the world they cherished. Love had not only survived the plague, it had flourished, a testament to the enduring strength of the human heart. As the sun set behind the rolling hills, casting a golden hue across the village, Isabella and Pietro felt the warmth of hope radiating from the land. Their village, once cloaked in the shadows of despair, now basked in the light of renewal. The plague, with all its terrifying grip, had loosened and life, tentative yet tenacious, sprouted anew from the ashes of fear. Isabella, her eyes reflecting the amber glow of dusk, turned to Pietro. "Do you think we'll ever forget these days?" she asked, her voice a gentle whisper carried by the evening breeze. Pietro, his hand intertwined with hers, gazed thoughtfully at the horizon. "Perhaps we shouldn't forget," he mused. "The memory of these times, of what we've endured, is part of us now. It's woven into the fabric of who we are." Their conversation was punctuated by the distant laughter of children, their carefree voices a symphony that marked the village's return to life. The sound was a balm to their souls, a reminder that joy could still be found amidst the remnants of sorrow. The willow tree, with its ancient branches swaying softly, seemed to nod in agreement. Under its watchful gaze, Isabella and Pietro had shared their deepest fears, their most fervent hopes, and their unwavering love. It had become their sanctuary, a place where time seemed to stand still, allowing them a respite from the world's chaos. As the village continued to heal, so too did its people. Neighbors who had once been strangers came together, united by their shared experiences. They rebuilt not only their homes but also their connections, forging bonds that would withstand the test of time. Among them was Father Giovanni, whose once somber sermons now rang with messages of hope and gratitude. One afternoon, as the sun spilled its warmth over the village square, a gathering took place. The villagers, their hearts lightened by the promise of better days, assembled to celebrate the resilience of their community. Father Giovanni stood at the center, his voice carrying across the crowd. "We have faced the darkness," he proclaimed, "and we have emerged into the light. Let us remember those we have lost and honor them by living fully, by cherishing each moment we are given." The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers mingling with the joyous song of birds overhead. Isabella and Pietro stood hand in hand, their hearts swelling with pride for the resilience of their village, for the strength of their love. As the days turned to weeks, Isabella found herself drawn to the river that ran through the village, its waters a mirror to the endless sky. She often sat by its banks, allowing the soothing sounds of the current to wash over her. It was here that she found clarity, a quiet space to reflect on all that had transpired. One such afternoon, as the river danced with the colors of a setting sun, Isabella was joined by an unexpected visitor. Sophia, a young girl who had become a symbol of hope during the plague, approached with a shy smile. "Isabella," Sophia began, her voice as gentle as a summer breeze, "may I sit with you?" "Of course, dear Sophia," Isabella replied, patting the ground beside her. Sophia settled in, her gaze fixed on the river. "My mama says that the river is like life," she said thoughtfully. "Always moving, always changing." Isabella nodded, her heart warmed by the child's wisdom. "Your mama is right. The river reminds us that even when things are difficult, life continues to flow, carrying us forward." They sat in companionable silence, the river's melody a backdrop to their thoughts. After a while, Sophia spoke again, her voice tinged with curiosity. "Do you think love is like the river too?" she asked. Isabella smiled, her heart full. "Yes, Sophia, love is very much like the river. It can be gentle and soothing, or powerful and unstoppable. It shapes us, and no matter what happens, it endures." Sophia considered this, her young mind absorbing the wisdom of the words. "Then I'm glad we have love, Isabella. It's what makes everything beautiful again." Isabella's eyes glistened with unshed tears, moved by the purity of Sophia's sentiment. "Yes, my dear, love is what makes everything beautiful." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and purple, Isabella and Sophia returned to the village. They were greeted by the comforting sight of Pietro, who stood waiting beneath the willow tree. "Did you have a good talk with our wise Sophia?" Pietro asked, a twinkle in his eye. Isabella laughed softly, her hand finding his. "Yes, she reminded me of the beauty in the world, even after all we've faced." Pietro wrapped an arm around her, drawing her close. "We've all learned so much," he said. "Our hearts, once heavy with fear, are now light with love and hope." They stood together, watching the stars begin to twinkle in the twilight sky. The village, a patchwork of memories and dreams, was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In its heart, Isabella and Pietro found the strength to continue, to cherish each moment, and to embrace the love that had carried them through the darkest of times. As the seasons changed, bringing with them the promise of new beginnings, Isabella and Pietro remained rooted in their love, a love that had not only survived but flourished amidst adversity. The village, their beloved home, thrived under the watchful eyes of its inhabitants, a community bound by shared experiences and an unwavering belief in the power of love. And so, beneath the eternal sky, with the river as their constant companion, Isabella and Pietro journeyed forward, carrying with them the lessons of the past and the hope of a brighter future. Their story, woven into the very fabric of the village, was a testament to the enduring strength of the human heart and the unyielding power of love. The village lay nestled among rolling hills that seemed to stretch out endlessly, like gentle waves frozen in time. Each morning, a fine mist would rise from the river, wrapping the landscape in a silvery embrace that glistened under the first rays of the sun. Isabella and Pietro would often find themselves walking along the riverbank, their footsteps a soft whisper against the earth, their hands entwined like the branches of the ancient oak tree that stood sentinel over the village. Time, in its ceaseless march, had brought forth new challenges. The village, though resilient, was not immune to the whispers of a new plague that had begun to stir in distant lands. News arrived sporadically, carried by travelers and merchants who spoke of a great sickness spreading from town to town, leaving a trail of fear and uncertainty in its wake. It was a shadow that loomed on the horizon, a reminder of past horrors that still lingered in the collective memory of the villagers. Yet, amidst the growing tension, Isabella and Pietro found solace in each other. Their love, tested by the trials of the Black Death, had become a fortress against the encroaching darkness. They shared quiet moments in their garden, where the fragrant blooms of roses and lavender offered a fragrant respite from the world's troubles. Together, they would tend to the plants, their fingers brushing against each other as they worked side by side, the simple act of nurturing life a balm for their souls. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Pietro turned to Isabella, his eyes reflecting the warmth of the setting sun. "No matter what happens," he said softly, "we will face it together, as we always have. Our love is stronger than any fear." Isabella nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. She knew that their love was a rare and precious thing, a gift that had sustained them through the darkest of times. "Together," she echoed, her voice a gentle promise that hung in the air between them. As the days passed, the village began to take measures to protect itself from the unseen threat. The elders held meetings in the town square, discussing ways to keep the community safe. Families were encouraged to remain within their homes, and travelers were asked to quarantine before entering the village. The once bustling market became a quiet place, where people moved with caution, their faces veiled by worry and cloth masks. Despite these precautions, the plague found its way into the village, carried by a weary traveler who had sought refuge among friends. It began slowly, with a single cough that echoed through the night air, a harbinger of the troubles to come. The village healer, an elderly woman named Marta, worked tirelessly to care for the sick, her gentle hands offering comfort and hope to those in need. Isabella and Pietro watched as the village grappled with the growing crisis. They offered their help wherever it was needed, delivering food to those who were unable to leave their homes, and assisting Marta in her efforts to care for the afflicted. It was during these moments that they realized the strength of their community, a tapestry of lives interwoven by threads of compassion and resilience. One day, as they returned from a particularly long day of tending to the sick, Isabella felt a strange heaviness in her chest. She dismissed it as fatigue, a natural result of their tireless efforts. But as the days wore on, the heaviness persisted, accompanied by a lingering cough that refused to be ignored. Pietro, ever attentive, noticed the change in her demeanor, the way her laughter seemed to falter, her movements slower and more deliberate. "Isabella," he said one evening, his voice laced with concern, "you must rest. Let me take on more of the burden." She shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. "I am just tired, my love. It is nothing that a good night's sleep cannot cure." But as the days turned into weeks, it became clear that Isabella's ailment was more than mere exhaustion. The cough grew worse, a persistent reminder of the plague that had seeped into their lives. Pietro watched helplessly as his beloved grew weaker, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the illness that ravaged her body. In the quiet hours of the night, as the village lay shrouded in darkness, Pietro would sit by Isabella's side, his heart aching with a love so fierce it threatened to consume him. He would hold her hand, tracing the delicate lines of her palm with his fingers, a silent vow to remain by her side through whatever lay ahead. One night, as the moon cast its silvery glow over the village, Isabella turned to Pietro, her eyes filled with a depth of emotion that took his breath away. "Promise me," she whispered, her voice a fragile thread, "that you will not lose hope. Our love has brought us this far, and it will sustain us still." Pietro nodded, tears brimming in his eyes. "I promise," he replied, his voice a steady anchor amidst the storm. "I will never give up on us." And so, with each passing day, Pietro poured his love and devotion into caring for Isabella, tending to her needs with a tenderness that spoke of a love that knew no bounds. He would read to her from their favorite books, the words a soothing balm that carried them away from their troubles. He would bring her wildflowers from the meadow, their vibrant colors a reminder of the beauty that still existed in the world. As the plague continued its relentless march, the village found itself caught in a delicate dance between despair and hope. Families mourned their losses even as they clung to the promise of brighter days. The river, their constant companion, flowed on undeterred, a testament to the enduring rhythms of life. One morning, as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Pietro awoke to find Isabella sitting by the window, her gaze fixed on the world outside. The air was crisp and clear, the scent of earth and dew mingling in a fragrant embrace. Pietro joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders, drawing her close. "Do you remember," Isabella began, her voice a gentle murmur, "the first time we walked along the riverbank? It was spring, and the world was waking up from its long slumber. You picked a daisy and placed it in my hair." Pietro chuckled softly, the memory as vivid as the day it had happened. "I remember," he said, pressing a kiss to her temple. "It was the day I realized I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you." Isabella smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest. "And here we are," she said softly, "still walking this path together." As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its golden light over the village, a sense of peace settled over Isabella and Pietro. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be moments of heartache and uncertainty. But they also knew that their love, forged in the crucible of adversity, was a force that could weather any storm. Together, they faced the rising sun, the promise of a new day unfurling before them like a banner of hope. And in that moment, beneath the eternal sky, with the river as their steadfast witness, they knew that love, true and unwavering, would always find a way to endure. The days that followed were a testament to their resolve, a dance of resilience and tenderness intertwined with the daily rhythms of a world still reeling from the shadows of the plague. The village, nestled in the crook of the verdant hills, had begun to stir with a cautious optimism. Life was slowly returning to its familiar cadence, though the specter of loss remained a constant companion. Pietro and Isabella, now accustomed to the delicate balance of joy and sorrow, became beacons of hope within their community. They embraced their roles with a quiet dignity, offering solace and strength to those who had suffered the most. Their love, a beacon in the night, guided them through moments of doubt, their hearts a sanctuary against the encroaching darkness. One morning, as the mist clung to the fields like a gossamer veil, Isabella ventured into the village square, her steps purposeful yet light. She was greeted by the familiar sights and sounds: the blacksmith's rhythmic hammering, the fragrant aroma of fresh bread wafting from the bakery, the laughter of children echoing through the narrow lanes. Each sound, each scent, was a symphony of life, a testament to the endurance of the human spirit. As she passed the apothecary, her gaze lingered on the weathered sign, its paint faded by time and the elements. It was here that she and Pietro had spent countless hours, tending to the sick, their hands guided by compassion and an unwavering sense of duty. The memories were etched into the very walls, whispers of gratitude and despair mingling in the air. Inside, the apothecary's shelves were lined with jars of herbs and tinctures, a testament to the knowledge passed down through generations. Isabella's fingertips brushed the smooth glass of a jar filled with dried lavender, the scent of balm to her weary soul. She gathered a few essentials, her mind already drifting to the remedies she would prepare for those still in need. As she turned to leave, a voice called out to her, soft yet insistent. It was Maria, a woman whose life had been irrevocably altered by the plague. Her eyes, once bright with youth, now held a depth of sorrow that spoke of loss too profound for words. "Isabella," Maria began, her voice tinged with both gratitude and melancholy, "I wanted to thank you for everything. Your kindness. It has helped me more than you know." Isabella offered a gentle smile, her heart swelling with empathy. "We all do what we can, Maria. It is love that binds us, even in the darkest of times." The two women embraced, a shared moment of understanding that transcended words. As Isabella left the apothecary, the weight of their shared history lingered in the air, a silent testament to the bonds forged in the crucible of hardship. Meanwhile, Pietro found himself at the riverbank, where the water flowed with a serene grace, its surface glinting like scattered jewels under the sun's caress. He often came here to think, to find solace in the gentle murmur of the current, a reminder of life's perpetual ebb and flow. His thoughts drifted to Isabella, to the strength of her spirit and the gentleness of her heart. She had been his anchor, his guiding star through the tempest of uncertainty. Together, they had weathered storms that would have fractured lesser bonds, their love a lighthouse in the fog of despair. As he sat on the riverbank, the cool breeze ruffling his hair, Pietro's mind wandered to the future. The road ahead was uncertain, a tapestry of possibilities woven with threads of hope and fear. But in his heart, he knew that as long as they faced it together, there was nothing they could not overcome. The sun had begun its descent by the time Isabella returned home, her arms laden with herbs and remedies. Pietro greeted her with a warm embrace, his presence a balm to her tired spirit. "How was your day?" he asked, his voice a gentle caress. "Busy," she replied with a soft laugh, "but fulfilling." Maria stopped by the apothecary. "She wanted to thank us." Pietro nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. "It's moments like these that remind us why we do what we do. Love and kindness are the greatest healers of all." As dusk settled over the village, the world bathed in a palette of purples and golds, Pietro and Isabella prepared a simple meal, their movements a dance of familiarity and comfort. They shared stories and laughter, their hearts lightened by the day's small victories. Later, as they sat together beneath the stars, the night enfolding them in its embrace, Pietro took Isabella's hand in his, their fingers entwined like the roots of a sturdy oak. The world around them was quiet, the only sound the gentle rustling of leaves whispering secrets to the night. In moments like this, Pietro mused, his voice a mere breath against the silence, "I am reminded of the beauty that exists even in the midst of turmoil." Isabella leaned into him, her heart full. Love has a way of finding us, even in the darkest of places. It is the light that guides us home. Beneath the vast canopy of stars, their hearts beat in unison. a steady rhythm that spoke of promises made and kept. They knew that the journey ahead would not be without its trials, that the world was still a fragile tapestry of uncertainty. But they also knew that love, true and unwavering, was the thread that held it all together. As the night wore on, the village slumbered peacefully, cradled in the arms of hope and renewal. And in the quiet of the night, beneath the eternal sky, Isabella and Pietro found solace in each other, their love a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. For in the end, it was love that endured, a flame that burned brightly against the darkness, a promise of new beginnings and the enduring power of the human heart. The dawn broke gently over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of soft pink and gold. The village, still nestled in the embrace of sleep, seemed to breathe in time with the awakening earth. Isabella and Pietro remained by the river, their fingers intertwined, the night fading but their spirits aglow with the promise of a new day. As the first birds began their morning chorus, Isabella stirred, her eyes fluttering open to the sight of Pietro gazing at her with a tenderness that warmed her heart. "It's a new day," he whispered, his voice a gentle caress. "A new beginning." Isabella smiled, feeling the weight of the past lift from her shoulders, replaced by a sense of hope that filled her with renewed strength. "Yes," she replied softly. "A day when we can rebuild, when we can start anew." The village awoke slowly, the inhabitants emerging from their homes with cautious optimism. The plague had left its mark, but it had also taught them the value of community, of standing together in the face of adversity. There was work to be done, and hearts to be mended, but the spirit of resilience was palpable in the air. Pietro and Isabella returned to the village hand in hand, their presence a symbol of love's triumph over despair. The villagers greeted them with smiles, their eyes reflecting gratitude and hope. The bonds that had formed in the crucible of hardship now promised to forge a future that was brighter, more compassionate. As the weeks turned into months, the village slowly healed. The scars of the plague, both physical and emotional, began to fade, replaced by new growth and renewed purpose. Pietro, with his knowledge of herbs and healing, became a beacon of hope for those still recovering, while Isabella's gentle strength and compassion united the community. Together, they nurtured a garden in the heart of the village, a symbol of rebirth and resilience. The flowers bloomed in vibrant colors, a testament to the beauty that can arise from the ashes of destruction. It became a place where villagers gathered, sharing stories and laughter, a sanctuary of peace and connection. Yet, as the seasons changed, whispers of a new sickness reached their ears, carried on the winds of distant lands. It was a reminder that the world remained unpredictable, that challenges would continue to arise. But this time, they were prepared, their hearts fortified by the lessons of the past. Isabella and Pietro gathered the villagers one evening beneath the starlit sky. The garden, fragrant with the scent of blossoms, provided a tranquil backdrop for their meeting. "We face uncertainty once more," Pietro began, his voice calm and steady, "but we are not the same as we once were. We are stronger, wiser, and we have each other." The villagers listened intently, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns. Isabella stepped forward, her eyes shining with conviction. "We have learned how to protect one another, how to care for each other. Love is our shield, and it will guide us through whatever lies ahead." There was a murmur of agreement, a ripple of determination that spread through the crowd. They were not alone. They were a community, bound by shared experiences and a collective will to endure. As the gathering dispersed, Isabella and Pietro lingered in the garden, the night air cool against their skin. "Do you think we will ever be truly free of fear?" Isabella mused, her gaze fixed on the stars. Pietro wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. Perhaps not, he admitted, but fear need not be our master. We can choose to live with courage, to face each day with hope. And as long as we have love, we are never truly powerless. The months that followed tested their resolve, as the whispers of sickness grew into a tangible threat. But the village, united and prepared, faced the challenge with grace and determination. They implemented the lessons learned from the past, adapting and protecting their community with newfound wisdom. Through it all, Pietro and Isabella remained steadfast, their love a beacon of strength for those who wavered. They worked tirelessly, tending to the sick, offering solace to the grieving, and nurturing the spirit of hope that had taken root in their hearts. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in a fiery glow, Isabella and Pietro stood at the edge of the garden, their hands entwined. They watched as a group of children played among the flowers, their laughter a joyful melody that echoed through the air. "Look at them," Isabella said, her voice filled with wonder. "They are the future, unburdened by fear, free to dream and grow." Pietro nodded, his heart swelling with pride and love. "They are our legacy," he replied softly. "Proof that love can transcend the darkest of times, that it can nurture life and hope even in the most barren of soils." As the stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, Isabella turned to Pietro, her eyes filled with gratitude and love. "You have been my light, my anchor," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Together, we have weathered the storms, and I have no doubt that we will continue to do so." Pietro smiled, a warmth spreading through his chest. "And you have been my strength," he replied, his voice steady and sure. "With you, I have found a love that endures, that grows stronger with each passing day." Under the canopy of night, they stood in silence, their hearts beating in harmony, a testament to the enduring power of love. For in the end, it was love that had sustained them, a flame that had guided them through the darkest of times, a promise of new beginnings and the unyielding resilience of the human spirit. As the world continued to turn, as challenges arose and were met, Isabella and Pietro faced each day with courage and hope. Their love, a beacon of light, shone brightly in the darkness, a reminder that even in the most daunting of times, love could find a way to thrive. And so, the story of Isabella and Pietro became a part of the village's history, a tale of love and resilience that was passed down through generations. It was a story that spoke of the power of the human heart, of the strength found in unity and compassion, and of the enduring light of love that shines bright, even in the darkest of places. In the end, it was love that endured, a flame that burned brightly against the darkness, a promise of new beginnings and the enduring power of the human heart. As the tale of Isabella and Pietro echoed through the cobbled streets of their village, another story was unfolding far across time and geography. A story that would once again test the limits of love's resilience against the harrowing backdrop of a world in turmoil. It was the year 1918, and the Spanish flu had begun its relentless march across continents, leaving a trail of despair and uncertainty in its wake. In a small town nestled within the rolling hills of Tuscany, a young woman named Alara stood at the threshold of her family's home, the scent of lavender mingling with the crisp autumn air. Her heart, a delicate vessel of hope and longing, beat fervently in her chest as she awaited the return of her beloved, Marco. The two had met on a sun-drenched summer afternoon, their eyes locking across a bustling marketplace as if drawn together by an invisible thread. From that moment, their lives had become intertwined, a tapestry woven with whispers of sweet promises and dreams of a shared future. But now, with the world gripped by the insidious grip of the pandemic, their love faced a challenge unlike any other. Marco, a doctor by profession, had been called to the city to aid in combating the rampant spread of the flu. Days turned into weeks, and the distance between them seemed to grow with each passing moment. Yet, Alara's heart remained steadfast, a lighthouse guiding Marco back to her shores. Each evening, as the sky blushed with the hues of dusk, Alara would sit by the window, pen poised over paper, composing letters that carried with them the warmth of her affection and the strength of her faith in their reunion. Her words, gentle and soothing, traversed the miles, wrapping around Marco like an embrace, a balm against the chaos and despair that surrounded him. In the city, Marco found himself engulfed by the relentless tide of illness and suffering. The hospital wards overflowed with the sick and the dying, their anguished cries a haunting symphony that echoed in his mind long after he had left their side. Yet amid the despair, thoughts of Alara sustained him. Her letters, filled with love and encouragement, were his sanctuary, a reminder of the world beyond the walls of the hospital. A world where hope and love still bloomed. One particularly grueling night, as Marco stood by the bedside of a young boy whose breath rattled with the weight of the disease, he found himself questioning the fairness of it all. The boy's mother, her eyes hollow with grief, clutched her son's hand, whispering lullabies of comfort and solace. It was in that moment, as the fragility of life lay bare before him, that Marco understood the true depth of love's power. It was in the small, selfless acts of kindness, in the unwavering belief in a better tomorrow, that love proved its mettle. Determined to return to Alara, Marco poured himself into his work with renewed vigor. Each life saved, each moment of comfort offered, brought him one step closer to home. He imagined the feel of Alara's hand in his, the sound of her laughter dancing through the air, and it spurred him onward, a beacon in the storm. As the weeks stretched into months, the world around them began to heal. The influenza's grip loosened, and the promise of a new dawn shimmered on the horizon. Marco, weary but unbroken, set out for home, his heart alight with anticipation. The journey back to Alara was marked by the first whispers of spring, the earth awakening from its slumber, a tapestry of vibrant colors unfurling beneath the sun's gentle touch. Marco's heart swelled with each step, the distance between them shrinking with every breath. And then, at long last, he stood before her, the weight of their separation melting away as their eyes met. Alara, radiant as the morning sun, rushed into his arms, their embrace a testament to the resilience of their love. In that moment, the world fell away, leaving only the two of them, bound by a love that had endured against all odds. Their reunion was a celebration of life and love, a testament to the human spirit's ability to persevere in the face of adversity. As they walked hand in hand through the fields, the world around them seemed to mirror their joy, each bloom a symbol of renewal and hope. The tale of Alara and Marco, like that of Isabella and Pietro before them, became woven into the fabric of their community, a story of love's triumph over despair. It served as a reminder of the strength found in vulnerability, the courage to love fiercely and without reservation, even when the future seemed uncertain. As the years passed, these stories of love in the time of plague continued to inspire, their echoes reaching across time to touch the lives of those who faced their own challenges. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, another tale of love unfolded, this time in the bustling heart of New York City. Sophia and Ethan, two souls adrift in a sea of uncertainty, found solace in each other's presence. They met in the early days of the pandemic, their paths crossing in a park that offered a brief respite from the chaos of the world. Their connection was immediate, a spark that ignited a blaze of emotion and understanding. As the city fell silent under the weight of lockdowns and restrictions, Sophia and Ethan discovered a world of their own creation, where love and hope blossomed against the backdrop of an uncertain future. They spent their days exploring the quiet streets, their laughter and conversation a melody that filled the empty spaces. Even as the pandemic raged on, their bond deepened, each moment together a reminder of the beauty found in connection. They navigated the challenges of a world turned upside down, supporting each other through the trials and tribulations of isolation and fear. In their shared moments, they found strength and solace, a refuge from the storm. Their love, like those before them, proved to be a guiding light, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love could endure and thrive. As the world slowly began to heal, Sophia and Ethan emerged from their cocoon, their love a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They stood hand in hand, their hearts intertwined, ready to face whatever the future held, buoyed by the knowledge that love, indeed, could survive even the deadliest of pandemics. These stories of love in the time of plague, woven through the tapestry of history, remind us of the power of the human heart. They speak of resilience, hope, and the unyielding strength found in vulnerability and connection. And in a world that continues to face challenges and uncertainty, they serve as a beacon of light, a promise that love will endure, a flame that burns brightly against the darkness. But as the sun began to set on their tale, casting long shadows across the memories of their journey, Sophia and Ethan found themselves seated beneath an ancient oak tree, the leaves whispering secrets of ages past. The world around them, though scarred, was slowly knitting itself back together, the wounds of the pandemic beginning to heal. People emerged cautiously, like butterflies from cocoons, hesitant but hopeful, ready to embrace life anew. Sophia leaned against Ethan, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat, a comforting lullaby that had become her anchor. "Do you remember?" she began softly, her voice barely more than a breath, "the stories we shared under this very tree, about those who loved fiercely despite the fear that surrounded them?" Ethan nodded, his eyes distant as he recalled the tales that had sustained them during the long, lonely nights. "It's as if those stories were threads in a tapestry, weaving us together with the past, grounding us in a shared human experience," he replied, his voice tinged with wonder. Their thoughts drifted to the lovers of centuries gone by, who had faced the terrors of the Black Death, the Spanish flu, and countless other scourges. Each story was a testament to the enduring power of love, a flame that flickered but never extinguished, even in the fiercest of storms. In the 14th century, amidst the chaos of the Black Death, there was the tale of Isolde and Tomas, two souls who defied the odds to find each other in a world unraveling at the seams. The plague had swept through their village like a spectral wind, leaving naught but silence and sorrow in its wake. Yet, amidst the desolation, Isolde's laughter rang out, a sweet melody that drew Tomas like a moth to a flame. They met secretly at twilight, beneath the same stars that now watched over Sophia and Ethan, their love a fragile yet unyielding thing. Then there was the harrowing story of Eleanor and Joseph, who braved the Spanish flu of 1918. In a time when the air itself seemed to carry death, Eleanor's letters to Joseph were a lifeline. She penned them with trembling hands and an unwavering heart, her words a balm against the encroaching darkness. Though separated by miles and a world in turmoil, their love remained steadfast, a path through the wilderness. Sophia sighed, her breath mingling with the cool evening air. Those stories taught us so much, about courage, about the choices we make when faced with the unimaginable, she mused. Ethan wrapped his arm around her, drawing her closer, and about the beauty that can arise from the ashes of despair, he added softly. Even when the world seems to crumble, there's a resilience that lies within us, a spark that refuses to die. As the sky deepened to indigo, speckled with the first twinkling stars, they fell into a comfortable silence, each lost in their thoughts. They were grateful for the quiet moments, the simple joys that had carried them through the storm. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves above, a reminder of the season's eternal cycle of life and rebirth. Sophia's gaze drifted to the horizon, where the first sliver of the moon peeked through the gathering dusk. "Do you think," she asked, her voice tentative, "that those who loved before us also found solace in the moon, in the knowledge that it watched over them as it does us now?" Ethan smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "I think the moon has always been a silent witness to our struggles and triumphs," he replied. "A constant in a world of change, reminding us that no matter how dark the night, the dawn is always just around the corner." Their conversation turned to the future, to the life they hoped to build together beyond the shadow of the pandemic. They spoke of dreams and aspirations, of places they longed to explore, and of the family they hoped to create. With every word, the weight of uncertainty lifted, replaced by a burgeoning sense of possibility. Yet, even as they planned and dreamed, a part of them remained tethered to the past, to the stories that had become a part of their own. They resolved never to forget the lessons learned, the strength and courage that had seen them through. In time, the world did heal, the scars of the pandemic fading like echoes of a distant storm. People gathered once more, in laughter and song, celebrating the resilience of the human spirit. And through it all, Sophia and Ethan stood together, a living testament to the enduring power of love. As the years passed, their lives unfolded like a well-thumbed book, each chapter richer and more vibrant than the last. They welcomed children into the world, teaching them the stories of old, instilling in them the same hope and courage that had carried their ancestors through times of plague and peril. And so, the tales of love in the time of plague lived on, passed down through generations, a cherished inheritance that reminded humanity of its capacity for resilience and grace. In a world that would inevitably face new challenges, these stories remained a beacon of light, a promise that love could indeed survive the darkest of times. Sophia and Ethan, like Isolde and Tomas, like Eleanor and Joseph, were but threads in a vast tapestry, each one adding to the intricate pattern of human history. Their love, like those that came before, was a flame that burned brightly against the darkness, a testament to the unbreakable bond that connects us all. As they sat beneath the ancient oak, the moon casting its silvery glow upon them, they knew that they were not alone. The whispers of the past surrounded them, a chorus of voices that spoke of love's triumph over adversity. And as they faced the future together, hand in hand, they carried with them a simple yet profound truth, that even in the face of uncertainty and fear, love would endure, a guiding light through the storm. The night air was cool and fragrant, a gentle caress that seemed to breathe life into the ancient tales that wove their way through time. Sophia and Ethan sat quietly, their fingers interlaced, drawing strength from each other and from the stories that had come before them. The air was thick with the scent of wild lavender and distant rain, a sensory tapestry that enveloped them in a cocoon of nostalgia and hope. In the distance, the soft murmur of the river provided a soothing backdrop, a timeless lullaby that had cradled countless lovers before them. The river, like love, was a constant. It flowed unceasingly, carving its path through the landscape, whispering secrets to those who paused long enough to listen. Tonight, it sang of endurance, of passion ignited in the face of despair, of love that blossomed amid the ruins of shattered worlds. Sophia leaned against Ethan, her head resting comfortably on his shoulder. Her heart beat in rhythm with his, a silent symphony that spoke of their shared dreams and whispered promises. "Do you ever wonder," she began softly, "how they found the strength to hold on?" Isolde and Tomas, Eleanor and Joseph. In those times, with everything falling apart around them. Ethan sighed, his gaze fixed on the shimmering path of moonlight dancing across the river's surface. I think, he replied thoughtfully, that love in times of crisis has a way of stripping everything down to its essence. When death looms so near, it awakens something primal, something that reminds us of what truly matters. Maybe that's why love survives. It becomes our anchor, our reason to fight. Their conversation drifted into silence, each lost in the echo of those who had loved fiercely before them. Sophia closed her eyes, her mind reaching back through the corridors of time, recalling the stories of love that had transcended even the darkest chapters of human history. She saw Isolde and Tomas in the crowded streets of medieval Prague, their love a secret rebellion against the plague that claimed the city day by day. They had met by chance, drawn together by a shared moment of kindness in a world gone mad. Tomas had risked everything, venturing into the quarantine quarters to bring food and medicine to those left to fend for themselves. It was there, amidst the suffering and death, that Isolde had found him, her heart recognizing something in his defiant gaze that mirrored her own resilience. Their love, though fleeting, burned with an intensity that defied the shadows. It was a testament to the human spirit's ability to find beauty in the most unlikely of places. And when the plague finally receded, leaving behind a trail of loss and devastation, Isolde carried Tomas's memory with her, a vow to live a life worthy of their love. Beside Sophia, Ethan shifted, drawing her closer as if sensing the weight of her thoughts. He, too, was lost in the stories of the past, remembering Eleanor and Joseph in the heart of a 19th-century London ravaged by cholera. Their paths had crossed in the city's overburdened hospitals, where Eleanor, a nurse, had worked tirelessly to save those she could. Joseph, a doctor with a gentle smile and a heart full of compassion, had been her ally, her confidant in those long, desperate nights. Their love had been a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the bleakest of circumstances, there could be moments of profound connection. Together, they had navigated the treacherous waters of a society on the brink of collapse, their love a sanctuary amid the chaos. When the epidemic finally loosened its grip, they had emerged stronger, their bond a testament to the healing power of love. As Sophia and Ethan sat together, the weight of these stories pressed gently upon them, a reminder of the resilience that flowed through their veins. They were part of a lineage of lovers who had dared to hope, dared to defy the odds, and now it was their turn to write their own chapter, to find strength in the face of uncertainty. The world they faced was different, yet eerily familiar. The COVID-19 pandemic had swept across the globe, leaving no corner untouched. Fear and isolation had become the new norm, and yet, as in times past, love had found a way to endure. It was there in the quiet conversations held through screens, in the letters passed between closed doors, in the simple act of holding on to one another, even from a distance. Sophia and Ethan had met in the midst of this turmoil, their connection forged through shared laughter and whispered dreams. The world outside may have been uncertain, but within their shared space, there was comfort and warmth. They had discovered that love was not bound by physical proximity. It was an energy that transcended barriers, a force that found its way to where it was needed most. Their journey had not been without its trials. There had been moments of doubt, of fear that threatened to unravel the delicate threads they had woven together. But each time, they had chosen to hold on, to trust in the bond that had brought them together. For in their hearts, they knew that love was not just an emotion, but a choice, a decision made anew each day to cherish, to support, to believe. The moon continued its gentle watch over them, casting its silvery glow upon the world below. Sophia and Ethan sat in its light, their hearts full of gratitude for the love that had found them. They were a part of something greater, a continuation of the stories that had come before, and they carried with them the hope that their love would, too, stand the test of time. As the first light of dawn began to chase away the shadows of night, Sophia and Ethan rose, their hands still entwined. They walked back towards the life they had built together, a life filled with the echoes of the past and the promise of a future forged in love. The stories of those who had come before them were not just tales of romance and resilience. They were lessons, guiding stars that reminded them that love was, and always would be, the ultimate triumph over adversity. And so, as they faced the unknown together, they did so with a profound understanding of the power that lay within their grasp. Love, they knew, was the legacy they would leave behind, a flame that would burn brightly long after they were gone. In the tapestry of human history, their thread was but one of many, yet it was a vital part of the whole, a testament to the enduring nature of the human heart. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges yet unseen. But as they walked together, side by side, they carried with them the stories of Isolde and Tomas, Eleanor and Joseph, and countless others who had loved and lost, who had fought and triumphed. And in their hearts, they carried the unshakable belief that, no matter what lay ahead, love would find a way. It always had, and it always would. The air was thick with the scent of impending rain, a promise whispered by the low-hanging clouds that seemed to stretch across the sky like an endless shroud. The world had grown quieter in these days of uncertainty, as if nature itself had paused, holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. Elena and Marco walked hand in hand through the cobblestone streets of their small Italian village, their hearts beating in a rhythm that matched the soft patter of their footsteps. The stories of lovers who had come before them lingered in their minds, tales of passion and perseverance that had transcended time and space, binding them to a legacy of hope. These legends whispered from the past were more than just history. They were a lifeline, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love could forge a path through the shadows. As they reached the edge of the village, where the fields stretched out like a patchwork quilt, the first drops of rain began to fall, cool and gentle against their skin. Elena tilted her face to the sky, letting the rain caress her cheeks like a lover's tender touch. "Do you remember," she asked softly, "how we used to dance in the rain as children? How the world seemed so simple then." Marco smiled, a warmth spreading through him that chased away the chill of the storm. "Yes," he replied, his voice a gentle rumble, "and how we would laugh until our sides ached, as if we could chase away the clouds with our joy alone." Their laughter echoed now against the rolling hills, a sound that seemed to weave itself into the very fabric of the landscape. The rain, once a gentle drizzle, now fell in earnest, soaking them through, but they did not care. They were alive, and in this moment, that was enough. As they made their way back to the village, the streets glistening like polished stone in the rain, the world around them seemed to hold its breath, waiting. The pandemic had cast a long shadow over their lives, a specter that haunted their waking hours with worry and fear. Yet, in the midst of this uncertainty, they had found solace in each other, a refuge from the storm. Their village, nestled in the embrace of the hills, had not been spared the ravages of the disease. Every door bore the marks of loss, and the air was thick with the weight of grief. But even here, amid the sorrow, life persisted. Flowers bloomed defiantly in window boxes, their colors vibrant against the gray of the stone walls. Children played in the puddles, their laughter a bright, unyielding sound that cut through the gloom. Inside their small home, the fire crackled warmly in the hearth, casting flickering shadows on the walls that danced like specters of old. Marco and Elena shed their wet clothes, wrapping themselves in soft blankets as they settled together by the fire. The world outside faded away, leaving only the soft glow of the flames and the gentle hum of their shared silence. "Do you ever think about them?" Elena asked, her voice barely more than a whisper, as if afraid to disturb the quiet. "The ones who came before us, who loved in times like these." Marco nodded, his gaze fixed on the fire. "I think about them often," he admitted. "About the courage it must have taken to hold on to love when everything seemed lost. It makes me believe that we can do the same." Elena reached for his hand, her fingers intertwining with his. "Love is a powerful thing," she said softly. "It survives against all odds." Perhaps that's the most important lesson we can learn from their stories. As the rain continued to fall outside, a gentle lullaby that soothed the soul, they spoke of the past and the future, of dreams and fears, weaving together a tapestry of hopes that bound them ever closer. They spoke of Isolde and Tomas, whose love had endured the Black Death, a flame that burned brightly even as the world around them crumbled. They spoke of Eleanor and Joseph, whose unwavering devotion had been a beacon of light during the cholera outbreaks of centuries past. These stories, these echoes of love and resilience, were a balm to their weary hearts, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggle. They were part of a continuum, a lineage of lovers who had faced the impossible and emerged stronger for it. As the night deepened and the storm raged on, Marco and Elena found solace in each other's arms, their hearts beating in a shared rhythm that echoed the stories they held dear. The world outside may have been uncertain, but here, within the warmth of their home, they had found a peace that transcended the chaos. In the days that followed, as the pandemic continued its relentless march, they clung to this peace, nurturing it like a fragile flame. They took solace in the small moments of joy, a shared meal, a whispered conversation, a stolen kiss that tasted of rain and hope. And as the seasons changed, the world shifting beneath the weight of its own transformation, they found strength in the stories of those who had loved before them. These tales of courage and resilience were not just relics of the past, but living testaments to the enduring power of the human spirit. Through the darkest nights and the longest days, Marco and Elena held fast to each other, their love a beacon that guided them through the storm. And as the world began, slowly, to heal, they knew that they too would emerge from the darkness, their love a testament to the enduring legacy of those who had come before. For in the end, it was not the shadows that defined them, but the light they carried within, a flame that burned brightly against the night. In the tapestry of human history, their story was but one thread among many, yet it was a vital part of the whole, a testament to the unyielding power of love to conquer even the greatest of adversities. The gentle rustle of leaves whispered through the air as the world around them began to breathe anew, the earth exhaling after a long-held breath. Marco and Elena found solace in these moments of quiet, the symphony of nature a balm to their weary souls. They walked hand in hand through the meadow, where wildflowers swayed like dancers caught in the embrace of a summer breeze, their colors vivid against the backdrop of a sky brushed with the hues of dusk. Yet, amidst the serenity, there lingered an undercurrent of uncertainty, a reminder of the trials they had faced and the shadows they had yet to dispel. Marco could feel it in the way Elena's fingers tightened around his, a subtle plea for reassurance that they would not lose each other to the lingering echoes of the past. He responded with a gentle squeeze, a silent promise that he would stand by her side, come what may. As they walked, Marco's thoughts drifted to the stories that had been their guide, the tales of love and sacrifice that had woven a path through history. He remembered the accounts of the Black Death, when lovers had faced unimaginable loss yet somehow found the strength to persevere. He thought of the lovers who had whispered promises beneath the shadows of the Spanish flu, their hearts beating in time with the uncertainty of the world around them. Do you ever wonder, Alina's voice broke through his reverie, soft and contemplative, if we would have found each other in another time? Another place? Marco paused, turning to face her. Her eyes, deep and searching, held the reflection of the fading light, a mirror to the questions that lingered in his own heart. I think we would have, he replied, his voice steady with conviction. Some loves are meant to be, no matter the circumstances. Elena smiled, a gentle curve that illuminated her features with a warmth that seemed to chase away the remnants of doubt. They continued their walk, their steps in sync with the rhythm of the world around them, a harmony that resonated with the timeless dance of life and love. As night descended, they returned to the small cottage that had become their sanctuary, its walls a testament to the resilience of those who had sought refuge within its embrace. The fire crackled in the hearth, casting a golden glow that wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. They settled into the worn armchairs, the familiarity of the scene a reminder that even in chaos, there could be moments of peace. The room was filled with the scent of lavender, a calming presence that mingled with the faint aroma of burning wood. Elena reached for the journal that rested on the table between them, its pages filled with the stories of those who had come before. It had become their ritual, a way to honor the past while forging their own path through the uncertainty of the present. Let's read another story, she suggested, her voice a soft invitation. Marco nodded, watching as she opened the journal to a page marked by a dried flower, its petals preserved in a delicate dance against the paper. The words flowed from her lips, weaving a tale of love found amidst the chaos of the 1918 influenza pandemic. It was a story of two souls who had discovered each other in a world torn asunder, their hearts entwined despite the odds. As Elena read, the room seemed to fade away, their minds transported to a time when the world had been gripped by fear and uncertainty. They listened to the echoes of laughter and whispers of promises, the shared moments of joy and sorrow that had defined those who had come before them. When the story ended, a contemplative silence settled between them, the weight of history a presence that lingered in the air. Marco reached for Elena's hand, their fingers intertwining in a gesture that spoke of shared strength and unwavering resolve. Every story is a reminder, he said, his voice a gentle murmur, that love finds a way, even in the darkest of times. Elena nodded, her gaze steady and filled with a quiet determination. And we are a part of that legacy, she replied, her words a vow that echoed in the space between them. Outside, the world continued its slow dance toward healing, the scars of the past a reminder of the battles fought and the resilience found. The stars began to emerge, pinpricks of light against the canvas of night, each one a beacon that spoke of hope and possibility. As the fire burned low, Marco and Elena sat together, their hearts beating in time with the stories they had come to cherish. They knew that the road ahead was uncertain, that there would be challenges yet to face. But they also knew that they were not alone, their love a testament to the power of the human spirit to endure and to thrive. In the quiet moments, they dreamed of a future free from the shadows of the past, a world reborn in the light of hope and love. Their dreams were woven with the threads of possibility, a tapestry that stretched across the horizon, promising new beginnings and endless tomorrows. And as they drifted into the realm of sleep, their dreams carried them to a place where love was a constant, a guiding star that illuminated the path forward. In their hearts, they held the stories of those who had come before, a reminder that they were not alone in their journey. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined them, but the light they carried within, a flame that burned brightly against the night, a symbol of the enduring power of love to conquer even the greatest of adversities. And as the world continued to turn, they knew that their love, like the stories they cherished, would leave an indelible mark on the tapestry of history. In the dawn's gentle embrace, the world seemed to hold its breath, suspended in a moment of fragile tranquility. The air was crisp, carrying with it the ghostly whispers of those who had walked these paths before, their stories etched into the very fabric of time. It was a morning like any other, yet there was a profound stillness that hinted at the extraordinary. Amelia awoke to the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze, a delicate symphony that played just for her. The sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting intricate patterns on the walls, like a painter's delicate brushstrokes. She lay for a moment, savoring the warmth of the bed and the quietude that enveloped her, a rare luxury in a world still trembling from the echoes of turmoil. Her thoughts drifted to the past, to the stories of lovers who had braved the storms of history, their hearts steadfast amidst the chaos. She felt a kinship with them, a shared understanding that love was a force beyond comprehension, capable of transcending time and circumstance. As she rose and prepared for the day, her mind lingered on the tales of those who had found solace in each other's arms during the darkest of days. She thought of Isabella and Tomas, who had met in a small Italian village during the ravages of the Black Death. Their love had been a beacon of hope, a defiant blaze against the encroaching shadows. Despite the odds, they had found each other, their souls entwined in a dance as old as time itself. Isabella, with her raven hair and eyes that held the wisdom of the ages, had been a healer in her village. Her gentle touch and soothing words had brought comfort to the suffering, even as she grappled with the fear that stalked the lands. Tomas, a humble artist, had captured the beauty of life on his canvas, a poignant reminder that even in the face of death, there was still so much to celebrate. Their love had blossomed unexpectedly, a tender bloom amidst the decay. Each stolen moment together was precious, a sanctuary where they could forget the world and revel in the simple joy of being. They had whispered promises to each other, their words a balm against the despair that threatened to consume them. And when the plague had finally loosened its grip, they had emerged stronger, their love a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Amelia smiled at the memory of their story, feeling the warmth of their love envelope her. It was as if she could hear their laughter, see the light in their eyes, a vivid tapestry woven into her consciousness. She knew that such stories were not mere fantasies, but echoes of a shared humanity, a reminder that love could flourish even in the most inhospitable of climates. As she stepped outside, the world unfurled before her, a canvas painted with the hues of dawn. The streets were quiet, yet alive with the promise of a new day. There was a sense of renewal, of possibilities yet untapped, as if the very earth itself was breathing a sigh of relief. Her thoughts meandered to recent times, to the stories of love that had emerged in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. She remembered reading about a nurse and a doctor who had met in the chaos of a bustling hospital, their connection a spark amidst the tumult. Their love had been forged in the crucible of crisis, a testament to the tenacity of the heart to seek out its own. Emily and Jack, their names had been, and their story had resonated deeply with Amelia. They had navigated the challenges of their professions, the relentless pressure of saving lives, while nurturing a love that had been as unexpected as it was profound. Despite the masks and the barriers, their eyes had spoken volumes, a silent communication that transcended words. Amelia admired their courage, their willingness to embrace the unknown, to find joy amidst the sorrow. She imagined their stolen moments, the glances exchanged over the rims of their masks, the brief touches that conveyed more than words ever could. In a world where touch had become a rarity, they had found ways to connect, to hold on to each other in the storm. The stories of Isabella and Tomas, Emily and Jack, intertwined in her mind, a delicate dance of past and present, a testament to the enduring power of love. They were reminders that even when the world seemed to be unraveling, love could be a constant, a guiding force that illuminated the path forward. As she walked, Amelia felt a sense of peace settle over her, a quiet assurance that she was part of something greater, a tapestry of human experience that spanned the ages. She knew that the world would continue to face challenges, that the shadows would persist, but she also knew that love would always find a way to shine through. In the distance, the city began to stir, a gentle awakening as people ventured out into the morning light. There was a sense of cautious optimism, a belief that the future held promise, that the darkness would eventually give way to the dawn. Amelia paused by a park, watching as a couple strolled hand in hand, their laughter a melody that danced on the breeze. She smiled, seeing in them a reflection of the stories she cherished, a living testament to love's enduring legacy. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its golden glow over the world, Amelia felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to carry the stories of love forward, to weave them into her own narrative. She knew that she, too, was part of this grand tapestry, that her own story of love and resilience was yet to be written. In the quiet of her heart, she whispered a silent promise to those who had come before, to those who walked with her now, and to those who would come after. A promise to hold the light of love high, to let it guide her through the shadows, and to share its warmth with all who crossed her path. And so, with a heart full of hope and a spirit unyielding, Amelia continued on her journey, knowing that love, in all its forms, would forever be the compass that guided her home. As the horizon stretched out before her, Amelia felt the gentle tug of the past and the promise of the future intertwine within her. Each step she took was accompanied by the echoes of those who had loved fiercely and lived fully, their whispers a soothing balm to her soul. The world around her seemed to breathe with her, each rustling leaf and singing bird a note in the symphony of existence. The path she walked was both familiar and new, a road paved with memories yet brimming with untold possibilities. The shadows that once seemed daunting now danced playfully at her feet, softened by the light she carried within her. She understood that the stories of love were not bound by time or place. They were eternal, woven into the fabric of the universe itself. With each passing moment, Amelia's heart swelled with gratitude for the journey she had traveled and the journey that lay ahead. The stories she held close were not just tales of the past but seeds of inspiration for the future. She knew that as long as she breathed life into these stories, as long as she shared them with the world, love would continue to flourish. As the day began its gentle descent into evening, the sky painted with hues of pink and gold, Amelia paused for a moment. She turned her face to the heavens, feeling the embrace of the universe around her. In that quiet, sacred space, she found a profound peace, a knowing that her story was part of something far greater. And so, with the sun setting behind her, casting long shadows that stretched into eternity, Amelia moved forward, her heart a beacon of love, her spirit a testament to the power of stories. She knew that wherever her path led, she would carry the light of those who loved before her, guiding her home to where love began and where it would forever reside. As she walked towards the horizon, the whispers of the wind seemed to carry the echoes of all the stories she had ever cherished. Each step she took resonated with the rhythm of a life well lived, a journey marked by both trials and triumphs. The path ahead, though unknown, shimmered with promise, inviting her to weave new tales, to explore new chapters. Amelia felt the gentle tug of the earth beneath her feet, grounding her in the present while allowing her spirit to soar. She imagined the generations to come, those who would sit under starlit skies and speak of dreams and adventures, drawing strength from the legacy she and those before her had left behind. The twilight deepened, and the first stars appeared, twinkling like ancient storytellers watching over the world. Amelia reached the crest of a hill and paused once more, her silhouette outlined against the vast, infinite sky. In that stillness, she understood that her journey was but a thread in the grand tapestry of existence, a vibrant hue among countless others. With a gentle smile, she whispered a silent vow to the universe, to continue nurturing the garden of stories, to keep planting seeds of hope and love wherever she went. Her heart swelled with gratitude, and her soul sang a melody of belonging, of connection to all that was and all that would be. As she descended the hill, the night embraced her, and the world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next chapter, the next adventure. Amelia walked on, a storyteller, a dreamer, a keeper of light, her spirit forever entwined with the eternal dance of life and love. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the echoes of countless tales, both told and untold. Amelia felt the presence of those who had walked the path before her, their wisdom woven into the very fabric of the earth beneath her feet. Each step she took was a tribute to their stories, their dreams, and their courage. The village awaited her return, a place filled with familiar faces and new beginnings. As she approached, the warm glow of lanterns flickered in the distance, guiding her home. She imagined the eager faces of children gathered around the fire, eyes wide with wonder, ready to be enchanted by the magic of her words. In that moment, Amelia realized that she was not just a storyteller but also a guardian of dreams, a nurturer of imaginations. Her heart brimmed with the understanding that every story she shared was a gift, a spark that could ignite change, inspire courage, and heal wounds. The village came alive with the sounds of laughter and music, welcoming her like a long-lost friend. She knew that this was where she belonged, amongst kindred spirits who cherished the art of storytelling. Together, they would weave a tapestry of tales that would transcend time, binding their hearts and spirits in an unbreakable bond. Amelia's journey had led her back to the place where it all began, yet she was no longer the same. She carried within her the wisdom of the stars, the strength of the earth, and the boundless love of the universe. With each story she told, she would leave a piece of herself behind, a legacy of light and hope for generations to come. And so, as the night deepened and the stars danced above, Amelia stood at the threshold of her world, ready to share the stories that lived within her soul. With a heart full of dreams and a spirit unyielding, she stepped forward, embracing the endless possibilities of tomorrow, knowing that her tale was far from over. The village embraced her warmly, its cobblestone streets echoing with the whispers of history and the promises of the future. As Amelia joined the circle of storytellers, she felt the gentle pulse of the earth beneath her feet, a reminder that she was part of something greater, a continuum of voices that had come before her and those that would follow. In the flickering glow of the bonfire, faces lit up with anticipation, eager to embark on journeys woven from words. Amelia began to speak, her voice a melody that danced through the air, carrying tales of distant lands, of love and loss, of courage and dreams. Each story was a bridge, connecting hearts across time and space, threading together the fabric of their shared humanity. As the night wore on, the stories flowed like an endless river, each one a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The villagers listened, enraptured, their eyes reflecting the starlit sky, their souls nourished by the magic of the moment. Amelia's words painted pictures of hope and wonder, leaving an indelible mark on those who heard them. With the first light of dawn, A gentle hush settled over the gathering. Amelia paused, her heart swelling with gratitude and joy. She had found her voice, her purpose, and in doing so, had found her way home. The village, once a place of beginnings, had become a sanctuary of endings, where stories would forever echo in the hearts of those who dared to dream. As Amelia gazed at the horizon, she knew that the world was vast and full of mysteries yet to be uncovered. Her journey was not an end but a new beginning, a promise of adventures yet to come. And so, with a whisper of thanks to the universe, she turned to her companions, a smile on her lips, ready to step into the future, where countless stories awaited their turn to be told. In the gentle embrace of dawn, beneath a sky painted with the colors of a new day, the village stood as a testament to the enduring power of stories. Amelia, a guardian of tales, knew that she carried within her the light of 1,000 stars, ready to shine brightly wherever her path might lead. And in that moment, she understood that her journey, like the stories she cherished, truly end.